everyone, Sally here, and welcome to Menopause Mindset Monday. How are you doing on this wonderful day? So this weekend, yesterday was Father's Day. Did you have a nice Father's Day? Did you spend it with your dad? Do you still have your dad around? Is it a poignant day for you? So yeah, these days can be quite triggering, can't they, if we don't have our nearest and dearest with us. So sending my love to you if Father's Day was a bit difficult for you. So today I wanted to talk about a subject a little bit similar to last week's subject, which was Black Menopause Matters. Today's subject is around the taboo of menopause. And there is quite a bit of shame around talking about menopause, and it's not good. You know me, I want to release that shame because I don't actually think it's any good for us. So if you are watching, do let me know. Do say hi, leave a comment, leave a message, and let's talk about this. So just a word to say that, I'm not a sociologist. I don't know all the ins and outs of this subject, but I do come at it from a hypnotherapist perspective, from a mindset perspective, and also what I see in the world just as somebody who is a curious person. I've just realised there's a fly in the room, so sorry about that. It's going to be slightly distracting, but there we go. So yeah, I come at it from a person who's curious, who wants to evolve, who wants to get things out in the open, who wants to explore, develop, and change the world, really. So, not too much to ask. And I was quite surprised when I learned that a lot of women have shame around the menopause, because I'm not that kind of person. I am very much sort of okay with what is here. But after speaking to a lot of women, I realised that there was a lot of shame and stigma and taboo shrouded. Menopause is shrouded in this stigma, this taboo, this stuff that we just feel really, really uncomfortable talking about. It's not good. So we need to dive into it and we need to find out why. So 50.8% of the population are women. So, we are in the majority, only just, but we are in the majority. So it just didn't make sense to me that menopause isn't being spoken about. And, it's being negatively perceived by a lot of people. And so no wonder there's fear around talking about it. So when we think about the word menopause, what kind of image does it conjure up? So I want you to think about this in your own mind. When I say the word menopause, what does it conjure up? Does it conjure up pictures of something negative, for example? So, many women just immediately think the word vagina, right? And of course, menopause is about the vagina, but it's about much more than just the vagina, right? So many women think about it as becoming infertile. There's a sense of loss around the idea of menopause, losing one's vavavoom, losing one's fertility, losing one's looks, losing one's clarity, losing one's mental sharpness, losing one's physical form. Maybe we're concerned about weight gain. Maybe we associate menopause with frumpy women just sweating in the corner, unable to do anything, not being very happy. Maybe they're rageful, maybe they're vengeful, maybe they're just going crazy. Maybe those sorts of images are the ones that we have. And I think it's really important to look at why we have taboos around menopause. So it certainly is lack of education, I believe, especially in the workplace. And I find it quite interesting that many workplaces will have a protocol around pregnancy, but they won't have a protocol around menopause. And I think, well, why is that? And here's what I think: because pregnancy is so visible. You can't ignore it. It's the elephant in the room. You have to address it. Whereas menopause is like this silent, invisible enemy that creeps up into a woman's life, and there's a lot of shame around it, and it's not spoken about. You can't see it. You can't see it happening. You might see someone having a hot sweat, or you might see someone being a bit kind of confused, or you might see someone being a bit emotional, but it's not physically obvious because it's an intimate issue and it's something that happens inside. It's hormonal. So that's why I think it's very easy to brush menopause under the carpet. And also from a spiritual perspective, women at menopause actually, and this is, I suppose, a sexist perspective as well, women at menopause actually become very powerful. And if you imagine that we still live in a misogynistic patriarchal world, that power is threatening to that existence. And so there's a vested interest in keeping the taboo of menopause perpetuated if you are part of the patriarchy, right? So now I'm not saying that all men are misogynists and patriarchists, but we've just realized how unconscious racism is within a lot of us. And I would imagine that unconscious sexism and ageism is perpetuated within us. And it seems to be this subject of menopause is now bringing this up to light. We're shining a light on it. And so, yeah, many men and women in the workplace, on the face of it, would probably say that they are not sexist, just like they would say that they are not racist. But we have to remember that sexism and ageism and racism and stuff like that is deeply programmed into us from the culture that we've been living in for, many, many years, centuries, in fact. And half of us, we don't even know it's there. Men don't know that sexism is still there, right? And if they don't know it's there, how can they change it? So this is about education. So it needs to be weeded out systemically from grassroots, from, we are the grassroots, and in our systems as well. But our systems are created by us. So we are the ones that need to start shouting about it, basically. It's our responsibility. Of course it is. Of course it's women's responsibility. Like it's our responsibility to, maintain the house and maintain our looks and maintain an active sex life and maintain, putting food on the table for the kids and the family and everything else that we are responsible for. So it's understandable why women don't want to be responsible for actively participating in deconstructing sexism in the world. But what choice do we have? What choice do we have? We have to. No wonder we're angry. No wonder menopause brings up so much rage and anger. But we can use it to our advantage. We can discharge it in ways that are not destructive, but that are reconstructive. So, yeah. During the menopause transition, we are becoming more and more empowered. And I did a podcast episode recently with the lovely Anna Price from Anna Simone Visions is her Facebook group. And we spoke about this phase of a woman's life being all about the enchantress. So the enchantress is somebody who is becoming really vocal and really powerful. Our voices become louder during this time. We become sort of more fierce. We become, in a good way, we become more active. We take more of an interest in social justice issues. And so we need to do something with that energy. So why are these taboos damaging? Well, because the less we talk about menopause openly, the more menopause stays shrouded in mystery. And mystery causes people to make things up about menopause that simply aren't true. Things like, I just have to put up with hot flushes. I just have to put up with brain fog. I'm now useless. Society doesn't want me. I'm past it. I'm over it. I have no energy to start a business. I have nothing to offer. I'm over the hill. And it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's a story that we have been told and it's not the truth. That's why we feel so angry during this time. And it's misdirected half the time. Sometimes it goes inward and then it becomes destructive. But if we can turn it around and project it outwards, we can do such good in the world. So if you've been given those beliefs, you've probably been given those beliefs by a world that does not want you to succeed. And you may have been given those beliefs by your parents as well. So we really have to look at where those beliefs come from and why and how they are not true. So another reason why menopause taboo and stigma is damaging is because what you resist persists, right? Whatever you suppress will seep out in some kind of dysfunctional way. So we know, oh, hi, Gloria. We know that when we suppress people's natural sexuality and natural sexual urges and desires, they are more likely to create some kind of sexual dysfunction like paedophilia or becoming somebody who rapes people. So we must not suppress. The more we suppress, the more we repress, the more things get worse. Hey, Trisha. When we suppress menopause, we get very anxious, we get very angry, we become very depressed women. And like I said earlier, that often goes inward. But we need to learn how to project that outwards so that we're not becoming destructive. We're not becoming self-destructive. We're not reprojecting what's inside out onto our partners, our colleagues, our bosses, our friends, our children, right? Because what happens is when we do that, we perpetuate the label mad woman in the attic. Right, I've not read the book. I probably should. It's an old piece of literature, an old feminist piece of literature depicting the mad woman in the attic. We need to brush that label off so that we can move forward, really. And I put here, actually, our madness is just brushed off because women and men just don't know how to deal with that rage, that anger, that anxiousness, that depression. So it becomes like, oh, she's just crazy. She's just like, she's hormonal. She's menopausal. She's going through the change. Oh, I hate those labels so much. Anyone else hate those labels? Oh, God, can't bear it. So menopause taboo is also damaging because the less we talk about it, the less open we are about it, the less research is going to be done about it because nobody thinks it's a problem, right? We just blame, we cast blame. Oh, she's just crazy. Why is she crazy? There's a reason why she's crazy because she's not being heard, for starters. Yeah. I hate labels too. She's not being heard. No one's doing anything about the problems that she's going through. And there are solutions. There's plenty of solutions out there to the menopause transition. And we've got to be careful not to look at it as a disease. It's not a disease. It's a transition. And there are things that we can do to make the road a bit less bumpy. Can't wait to get you on, Gloria, in the podcast. It's going to be amazing. Gloria is all about menopause style. And again, we can embrace our menopausal journey through style. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps all over and slightly teary as well. So the less we talk about it, the fewer women will know what they can do to help themselves. And there is so much that we can do to help ourselves. Yeah. I love my New Jersey look at the moment I'm going through. I'm really inspired by Michelle Visage from RuPaul's Drag Race. She's been doing a little TV program on BBC Three, and I'm loving the bun. I'm loving the big hoop earrings. So please excuse me while I just indulge this little fantasy of mine at the moment. Okay, so here's the thing we've all been waiting for. What can we do to break this taboo? So firstly, if you're a man listening to this, real Jersey, yeah, I love a bit of the Jersey look. I don't go into it too much, but I do I sort of fantasize about the jersey look a bit more than actualize it. But anyway, back to the point. What can we do to break the menopause taboo? So if you are a man listening to this, I think what might be useful is to do a bit of self-inquiry and see where there is some subconscious sexism going on. Did you learn it off your dad? Did you learn it off your granddad? It can be in there. And then take some responsibility, become curious. I love the word curiosity. It's a big thing for me at the moment. It's linked to the crown chakra. Curiosity is like, ooh, open-mindedness. What about if I just ask questions rather than cast judgment? What about if I seek to understand, seek to learn, seek to connect with someone a bit more emotionally? Yeah, and trust me, asking these questions, becoming more empathetic as a man will make your life so much easier. I promise you. She will be less anxious, less rageful, less angry if you just listen to her without trying to fix her, without trying to change her. And yeah. Okay, so women, what can we do? We have to educate ourselves. Okay, so please don't wait until it's too late to educate yourself. Menopause education really needs to start latest age 35. I mean, I started transitioning around about age 37, 38. So if I knew what was coming, if I knew what to expect, I probably wouldn't have freaked out so much when anxiety hit and weight gain hit and burnout hit and my hormones started changing, all of that. So your GP does not have time to educate you. Your GP is just there to solve problems, to solve symptoms. Okay, so we're lucky we have the NHS for things that go drastically wrong, but you need to take responsibility for your own education and you need to tell others to do the same, right? So this is about reading books, listening to podcasts, having conversations, going to groups, and really start implementing these practices because, it doesn't matter what you know. Knowledge is power, yeah, but knowledge in action is way more powerful. So implementing what you know and then really working on yourself if there are blocks that you are coming up against. I see a lot of people in my hypnotherapy practice that know they need to quit sugar, quit alcohol, start loving themselves more, start to embrace their emotions a bit more, start to express themselves a bit more, but they just don't know how to do it. So this is about learning how to do it, facing certain fears, facing certain anxieties that are going to come up on this menopausal transitional journey. So learning about nutrition, learning about exercise, why exercise is so important at menopause, learning about style, how to groom yourself, why it's important, learning about your hormones, especially cortisol, especially testosterone. We don't think about testosterone as being an important hormone for menopause, but it is. Estrogen, progesterone, the balance of those hormones. Learning about cortisol and adrenaline and thyroxine. Learning about psychology at midlife, how the brain changes at midlife, but also how your mindset affects your menopause, how your childhood programming affects your menopause, what you can do about clearing your childhood programming. Basically, come and have an RTT session with me, right? That's what we deal with. Yes, rewiring, reforming those neural pathways are going to be amazing for you. I've just realised, Gloria, my nails, sorry. Oh well, sod it. I don't have to be perfect. Okay. Then becoming an example to other women who are struggling. So nothing gives you more meaning and purpose in your life than helping others. We get embroiled with jealousy and comparisonitis. But the truth is, if we are bringing each other up as women, we are doing so much for ourselves, for our daughters, for our sisters, for our mothers, for humanity. We really are. We really just need to inspire each other. Be an example, live by example, right? So the other thing I wanted to mention is, please, women, only see doctors, only see GPs who specialize in menopause. Usually this is an advanced nurse practitioner, but could be a GP as well. So ask at reception. I want to see a doctor that specializes in menopause. If they give you an eye roll, just ask again. Don't take no for an answer. Even if it means you have to wait for a week or 2 weeks to get an appointment, it's going to be worth it, because if you don't see a doctor who specializes in menopause, you're not going to get the answers that you need. Okay, so the more we ask, the more we demand to see doctors and specialists who specialize in menopause, the more the demand goes up, right? The more people will go into that speciality, the more we will get our problems answered. Yeah. Okay, so number 2, ladies, we must stop being embarrassed about the menopause. Say the word menopause 3 times every hour, right? Say it to your daughters, say it to your husbands, say it to your colleagues, say it to your bosses. Say the word menopause. You know, we have to say the word over and over again to just normalize it. It's so normal. Menopause is so normal. Like, periods are normal. Sex is normal, right? It's just normal. So, you know, a lot of us do have trouble with this, and we need to really look at where the shame has come from. So this is about doing that deep inner work, looking where's that stigma come from? And often it's attached to social expectations of women always having to be beautiful. Yeah, say it with pride. Say it with pride. Love it. Yeah, so looking at our parents' relationship with menopause, our grandparents' relationship with menopause and aging, not just menopause, but also aging as well. Where did you learn it from? And this is where RTT can help as well, because we delve into the narrative of the past. We look at those scenes in your life where you picked up certain beliefs that are really not yours, but you've taken them on as yours, because that's what we do as children. We absorb everything. We're like sponges as children. So firstly, what we have to do is really acknowledge the emotions that are coming up for us at menopause. We have to acknowledge the shame, and then we have to murder the shame. As Jamila Jamil says, I've murdered my shame. Okay, because we have to acknowledge that there is really no use for it in our lives. There's no use for it in the world. So, but first it starts with an acknowledgement. And usually, you know, in any kind of therapeutic process, there are tears, and there's a realization of what we have been through. But it's a realization coupled with relief. There's like a sense of, oh my God, I don't have to carry the weight of this ancestral programming anymore. I just don't. I can let it go. It's not mine. But we need to acknowledge, you know, what limiting beliefs we've got going on first. Do we have the belief I'm no longer any use to society? I can't learn anything new. I'm over the hill. I'm past it. I've missed the boat. Oh God, the amount of times I hear that from clients. I've missed the boat. You know, I haven't had a relationship for 15 years. How am I ever going to find a person? That is perpetuating the belief that love is not available to you. And of course it is available to you. And I think it's important to acknowledge as well about the emotions that do come up at menopause, and how we must break the taboo of showing emotion as well, because menopause is such an emotional time. But with emotion comes so much power. You know, emotion drives change, not only systemically, economically, environmentally, but also personally as well. So, you know, us British people, we do have a bit of a stiff upper lip, don't we, when it comes to emotions? And I think we need to break that narrative of, well, we need to make it okay to express emotions, especially in the workplace, especially inside our family culture. and our friendship cultures. Like, you've got to be the first one, haven't you, to show the emotion, to have that breakdown in public, because people will look at you and they'll go, and they will immediately empathize. Why? Because of mirror neurons. It's just science, right? We have mirror neurons. If you see somebody throwing up, it makes you want to throw up. If you see somebody having sex, it makes you want to have sex. If you see somebody eating a hamburger, or, okay, let's say a piece of chocolate, it makes you want to eat a piece of chocolate. If you see someone crying, it makes you want to cry. So if you see somebody who's having an emotional outburst, immediately you are going to feel empathetic to them, unless you're a psychopath, right? But this is where we need to almost like take the first step into becoming the first one to showing that public emotional outburst so that we can normalize it. You know, we mustn't hold it all together. Sometimes we have to, admittedly, we've got to go into a meeting or something, but why not? Why not go into a meeting and say, I'm feeling a bit sad today, I'm feeling full of grief today because I'm just going through, as part of my menopause transition, or why not just say it as it is? I think because I have always worked from home, I've always sort of done what I've always needed to do. But I understand if you work in a workplace environment with other people and other energies and other sort of relational dynamics, there's going to be some stuff's going to come up for you. But it's just getting real, it's getting honest, so that we can break the taboo of emotional displays. And then we must reclaim that word menopause. So this is the big reframe. I think these are the sorts of things that you should journal on daily. Okay, maybe not daily, but when you feel the impetus. So write down, there's no shame in menopause because, and then do a free falling, what do they call, stream of consciousness writing, or record it into your dictaphone, or do a Facebook Live, or just write it out, or tell your partner. There's no shame in menopause because all women go through it. All cisgendered women will go through menopause. Some go through it earlier, some have early onset menopause, through surgeries, through chemotherapy. Some women have early onset menopause, you know, even in their teens, it happens. We all go through it. Not all women will have babies, but all women will go through menopause. So you're in good company. And then saying things like, there's no shame around menopause. It's just a life transition. It's just a rite of passage. It's a social and psychic transformation. It's a rite of passage. Say to yourself, you know, I'm embracing this change. A new sense of myself is emerging. I am willing to empower myself. I'm willing to clear out my past programming. I'm willing to tell a different story. I'm willing to end the silence. I want to end the silence for myself and for my other sisters and for the men in my life, because men don't like it when women suffer. Men feel helpless when their women are suffering. So this is an opportunity to empower the men too, because men love to problem solve. So yeah, menopause is a gateway into the most powerful time of my life, and that is true. Because women with negative attitudes towards menopause have a worse time of it. They have a much worse time of it with their symptoms. Yeah, I've just written here, experiences of menopause are socio-culturally shaped. They are not universal. There are women from different cultures who have a much better time of it than we in the West do. So Japanese women, for example, they don't have hot flushes, they have chilliness. Wouldn't that be nice? Oh, got a little chill. And interestingly, you know, where cultures where post-reproductive status is highly regarded, menopause is welcomed. So we just did a bit of research earlier. The Tuareg women in the Sahara Desert and the Rajput women in India, they have a much better time of it because this this afternoon of one's life is welcomed much more. But in cultures where fertility is highly regarded, women have a much worse time of it. So if we have the luxury of being able to choose what we value, then we can shift our values according to what is going to make us happier. So if having a smooth menopause transition is going to make us happier, then let's ignore the culturescape that tells us fertility is the only thing that we can be proud of. We need to ignore all those kind of sexy pop videos, or look at them with different eyes. It's not saying that that's bad. I'm not saying that, Nicki Minaj in her Anaconda video is terrible. But what I'm saying is look at it for what it is. It's an expression of fertility. That's not the only kind of beauty, right? There are other types of beauty. And we need to look for those. And they need to be more represented in the media. The silver hair, the grey hair, the aging body. The body that's carrying a little bit more weight. Do you have any info on how women with disabilities like Down syndrome cope with the menopause? No, I don't. But what? Yet again, curiosity. I love curiosity. We need to ask more questions. And this is something that we need to look at. So I'm going to go and do a bit of research. Thank you, Gloria. So what else? Right, I've said that. So number 3. So once we've kind of cleared out all our emotions and we have decided that we are going to reclaim the word menopause, we then have a responsibility to educate others and to drive this social change, okay? And what a lot of people find a bit difficult is when they're talking about menopause, they're worried about other people's reactions. But I just want to say this. Their reaction is not your responsibility. You don't have to cower and feel bad that you brought up the subject of menopause because they are having an emotional reaction to it. Just observe their reaction, find it interesting, and then carry on, stay in your power. So remember, you don't have to be affected by other people's reactions to menopause. You stay in your zone, you stay in your empowered stance, you know why you're doing what you're doing, and you let them have their reaction. And you just find it interesting. Okay, so especially in the workplace, we need to ask our HR departments, we need to be disruptive. We need to go in and we need to say, what's your menopause protocol? Right? Maybe you need to get someone in to talk to us about menopause. Maybe you need to get a specialist into this company so that we can learn all about it. Be the one that puts the who's starting the conversation. Be the one that plants that seed. It will give your life so much, meaning and purpose, trust me. And we need to ask people to stop using the derogatory terms. Oh, she's just hormonal. Oh, she's just going through the change. Oh, she's just the mad woman in the attic, whatever. You wouldn't use a racist terminology. You wouldn't use a homophobic terminology. So why would you use a sexist or an ageist phrase like that? We do need to be careful about the consequences of our words and our phrases, even if we don't intend them to be, sexist or racist. Sexist or ageist. Our words do have a consequence, so it's not bad. We've all done it before. Definitely not excluding myself from this, but we just need to become more aware. We just need to become more conscious. Yeah, and what we need to do is we need to know what we need as women. And if I could just plant a little idea into your head in that, I've done a lot of work with people around their mindsets and around their emotions. And I believe that most women just want to be understood. And if we can ask others to just try to understand the way that we feel, then that can go a long, long way into soothing our rage and to, getting things sorted. So perhaps asking people to just listen to us without trying to fix, and without trying to interrupt. So creating a space in your relationships, work life, friendships, personal relationships, where you are just heard. So like circles are really good, and especially in workplaces as well. Why not create a women's circle, or just a people circle where women can just be heard and held by the men? Wouldn't that be lovely, to have men in there as well, just listening to women, how they are affected by the change? So men not giving their opinions or trying to fix, but they're just listening. They're holding the space for women to express themselves and their sadness at the loss of their youth, or the rage that they feel, or whatever it is. Yep, said that. Yeah, I think I've said it all really. So this is about committing to the end of the silence, and declaring it and deciding that you will not stay silent. You won't stay menopause muted. Because half the population goes through this, and happier women means a happier world, because all of our systems are interlinked. Our environment is not separate from our political system. Our political system is not separate from our economic system. Our economic system is not separate from our health system, our inner health. Everything is interlinked. I know you know what I'm getting at. All right, so let's do a summary. How can we help break the taboo of menopause? The word menopause, which is effectively sexism and ageism, right? Acknowledge that there may be some subconscious sexism and ageism in your mind, even if you are a woman, but probably if you are a man, it needs weeding out. We need to become consciously aware of it. Women need to educate ourselves about our menopause, and we need to start young. We need to create more demand for better healthcare systems, but we need to take action on the knowledge that we have, and we need to clear our blocks that are in place that are preventing us from moving forward happily and healthily, the self-sabotaging blocks. We need to deal with our own shame. We need to dig it out. We need to reframe it. We can only do this when we really truly acknowledge our emotions, the sadness, the grief, the loss around midlife, and then reframe the shit out of menopause, right? Reclaim it, end the silence, journal it, talk about it, get the conversation started, because then we can educate others. We can drive this change. How? We ask questions. We become a conscious disruptor, right? This is about being that annoying person who does the right thing, using that inner rage to instigate that social change. All right, ladies and gents, if there's any gents watching this, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've got a couple of announcements. So let me see. Yeah, so on Thursday, I'm doing the Let's Talk Menopause event, which is online, part of the Menopause Expert Club. And this week, we're talking about all things sex. Whew, I can't wait. That's going to be with Lucy Rowett. So the link is in the description, either above or below, depending on where you're watching it. And tomorrow evening, if you're an entrepreneur, I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live on my page called Wellness Entrepreneurs, 3 reasons why investing thousands in your business isn't always the answer. So I've got some nice insights around that. That's going to be happening tomorrow on my Facebook profile page at 5:30. So hit me up and watch that if you are in the wellness entrepreneur world and you want some ways to move your business forward. and you want to understand a little bit more about why expensive business coaching might not be the answer. If you're not an entrepreneur, or even if you are an entrepreneur, but you are interested in self-esteem and how to create phenomenal self-esteem that gives you the confidence to speak up about potentially sensitive issues, then you might want to grab my free 2-part worksheet plus hypnosis recording called How to Create Phenomenal Self-Esteem. All you need to do is go to bit.ly/create self-esteem. And the link will be in the description as well. All right, my lovely ones, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next week. Bye.